In the United States, CPS makes upwards of $3 billion per day on trafficking and selling our children. The corruption may start with the caseworker, but goes through the judicial system, past the governor, through the Senate, and into the White House. The entire system has a hand in the business known as CPS.
Our children are stolen every minute of a 24-hour day. They are being robbed of their innocence, their trust, their happiness. As parents, we are isolated and betrayed by a government we trust. States are balancing budgets on kids' lives. Only 12% of the kids taken will be reunified. Title IV funding is being riveted with fraud.
All right, everybody, happy Monday. This is the CPS Punisher here, live with CPS Victims Hunting Justice. We hope that all of you succeeded the weekend by avoiding CPS. I hope that you all kept your family and your friends close, and I also hope that you all were able to stay without CPS in your lives. I apologize for that opening flaw there, but I created a new video over the weekend. And actually, I want to play that right now because I wanted to play it in the opening. And, don't forget, guys, like and subscribe. Do all those things. Please share. Let people know about our show because it's worth it to watch. It's worth it. Any information that we have, we could help you keeping CPS out of your lives. It's very important, the information we have, but don't forget that we are not lawyers. So make sure you check on everything that we say. But I'm going to play this new video here that I made up this weekend. And I want to do here. Here goes nothing. Yeah, it doesn't want to freaking start. Why is that? I wonder. Huh. That now, so never mind. We won't do that. I'll work on that while during the show, and I'll see if I can't get it to play because it really is a good video. But hey, guys. Anyway, it is Josie Monday, so we've got our co-host Josie from Canada here with us. Josie, how we doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
We're all right. We got anything new going on in your case, or what are we waiting for?
No, well, the only thing new now is I got my date for the lawyer, which is going to be the 9th of May. And besides that, nothing else is new. The week just went by like that, and here we are again.
I know, it seems like the week just cranks, right? All of a sudden it's Josie time again. So what's going on with your granddaughter? Anything? Did you hear anything? Have you been able to visit her? Is there anything new going on with that?
Well, now they're going to give the baby back to the dad.
What? They said, did you just say that they're giving the baby back to the dad?
So now we just heard that they're in June.
Wow.
She's going back to the dad, which in a way it's a good thing because she's getting out of the foster system, right?
Right, that's good, I guess. But what about the relationship with the dad?
I mean, I can talk to him, but the problem is that in the paper it says that he is not allowed to contact me or my husband.
Oh yeah, the restraining order stuff.
But I don't have a restraining order against him.
So who says that you can't talk to them then?
The judge.
And why does the judge say that you can't talk to them?
I wish I knew. And it all comes back to what the fuck. And then Naomi doesn't have more time. She's not getting sleepovers now. This is crazy.
Why are they taking those? They're taking those away because she's going back to the father, so they're trying to break that bond.
But do you see? Everything happened now that I put my complaint in. Do you see?
Right, and that's, you know what, Joseph, that's part of the problems, that people won't come on our show because they're afraid if they get out in front of people that they're going to be penalized. But if we get more people out in front of us, they couldn't penalize us, right? Because there would be more people knowing that their voices are being out here.
Exactly.
Now, that's what I feel, right? Like, that's what, Melissa, how do you feel about that?
I think that the department is there solely just to divide families, stick the kid with the abuser because that makes job security, and it means they'll have to come back out and remove the kid again at some point because they know it's a place of harm.
Exactly.
And honestly,
It's a setup. Jean.
yes, it's absolutely a setup because you know there's no way you can take two people that are having a child, whether they completely get along, kind of get along, sort of get along, even if they don't get along at all, they'll try to be cordial for the best interest of the child, unless you got a complete deadbeat parent of some sort. But then you stick the department in there. Well, now the one side's going to hate the other side, and this one's going to literally be like egging the other's house, and they hate each other, and all of a sudden the whole world's upside down. And instead of bonding together to fight for the best interest.
The problem is that the two of them, so the mom, dad, my daughter, and the baby daddy, first, they're not in a fight. And then in the report, I guess the report that I'm allowed to read, I guess it said he's not allowed to be with her when he's a baby.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
How
I
does
mean,
that even make sense? I even said I was like this makes sense. It's okay. He's gonna get a baby, let's say, and then he has to go to work. It works. Okay. So now the granddaughter needs to go a babysitter. Right? I'd be here and off my help, but he's not allowed to.
yeah.
You're gonna
and that's crazy because you know it's about family unity.
And you're gonna take the baby and you're gonna introduce her to a stranger? Like what the fuck?
Well, you know they loved sticking babies, newborns, you know, toddlers in daycare because you know we love spreading communicable illnesses and we like the fact that the kids stay sick all the time because then that's all the more reason they can argue no visits. And all the more reason they can argue to separate the parental bond.
That is true. You're right about that. Absolutely. Limiting those visits. Melissa, did you see the private chat?
Serious allergic reactions can occur. Tell your doctor if you are or may be.
Yeah.
I didn't hear.
That's all right, so you're good. I'll be right back. All right, I got to do a restart, guys. Melissa's gonna take the show from here. I'll be right back.
He's having technical difficulties.
Oh no.
So, whatever happened with the with your complaint, your private prosecution that you had filed?
I'm still it. This last time,
Don't you have an upcoming court date on that?
but the problem last time, remember when they did so that it be silenced. When I have a gag order, I'm not allowed to talk about it. I have a publication ban, and I can't fuck all about it.
Well, just so you know, and I know that the Canada's constitution is very similar to America's constitution. If you look, you'll find that you'll have some form of laws that speaks of the freedom of speech and the right to protect your freedom of speech. If you look into those, you can actually file a motion requesting that they vacate the gag order, arguing that it's a violation of your freedom of speech.
Well, that's that. I heard that. Next time I go to, that's exactly what I tell the judge, that I don't want a gag order. Like this needs to be fucking said it to the world what's going on here. Like, I don't want a gag order, but when I went to court, it's my first time. I was kind of like, what the fuck's going on? This was like not what I expected. So they kind of got me off guard. Like, everybody, I had people that wanted to see what went on, and then told everybody to get out of the courthouse. So everybody's like, what the fuck on?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the reason that they want you silenced is because of the fact that if word gets out that the judge is honoring a case on the behalf of you against the department under personal private prosecution, how many other parents you think are going to show up and have similar type stories and want the department put in their place?
100%.
You know, and
what
in a lot of ways, you're very fortunate, because here, when you walk into a courthouse and you argue for the right of private prosecution, they call you a sovereign law citizen. Oh, you're practicing sovereign law. That isn't allowed. You're a horrible person, blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
you know, so in a lot of ways,
they really think it for sure. Think it. Oh God, what is she? Because that's the problem, is that here we live, everybody's like, what the fuck is going on? Because I've never seen this before. So this is all new to them. Like, they've seen it, like,
right,
when they were university at thesis, kind of. They've never practiced it. So everybody's like, whoa. I think why they want to gag, because they don't want to fucking, like, you know, since it's never done, they don't know what's going on. You know?
Right. But what you need to do is you need to find you a law library, okay? And through your law library, and you can start by Google searching some of it, but just to make sure you have the right documentation, you'll want to verify it, you know, through some kind of more profound source. But you'll want to look for cases that uphold a freedom of speech against a gag order.
Okay.
Okay. And those cases, what you'll want to do is you'll want to file, in Canada, it's still called a motion for reconsideration.
Okay, hold on.
And you're asking the judge to reconsider.
Okay, hold on. Whoops.
I know, I'm making you break out the notepad, ain't I? Did we lose her?
Where did she go? See, I think they're really coming at us
shit,
now.
she tripped over her phone charger. She unplugged herself.
Oh, I think she's really... All right, I'm going to try to play this while we're waiting for her to come back. I want you to see this. Oh, here she comes. Is that her?
Yep, that's her.
You. I
All right.
lost you. Darn. Okay.
Yeah, well, you sound better now, so that's good.
Okay. So you said it was called a motion to what?
A motion for reconsideration.
Reconsideration.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And then what you'll want to do is argue that a gag order is a violation of your rights. And then I'll put together a little short list for you because I've actually done some research on freedom of speech stuff
Okay.
and Canada. So in the private chat, send me your email and I'll email you over some stuff.
Okay.
And then you'll just want to write it out, and it's called a motion for reconsideration. And you'll start it with like a comes now, and you put your name, that
But
you are seeking.
can I say this to the judge, or do I need to write it?
It's something that you would have to file in writing, and then when you go into the court during your date, they will
Yeah.
hear the motion. And while they're hearing the motion, then you get to argue to defend your motion and say, Your Honor, I get that we need to be respectful and not bash people, but, this is a violation of my rights. Let's correct this. Let's all be cordial and civil.
Okay.
Right.
Good.
That's good information. That's good stuff, Mark.
Yeah, really good information.
Cordial is the key word for Josie, right? Cordial.
Hey, my cordial comes with a baseball bat.
Yeah, I know there's a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me and Josie were going through earlier. We're going through some of these news articles, and I lost them here. Hold on a minute. What she wanted to play, so I'm trying to find that right now. Let's see. Inside the protection, don't take one child named your parents.
Type Ontario CPS.
Okay, Ori, I think I found it right here. Yeah, I got it right here. All right, let's check this out. This is Inside Ontario's Scary Child Welfare System Where Kids Are Commodities. That's the name of this article here. Or not article, I'm sorry, this program that we're going to watch. Pretty interested to see what this has to say. Let's see here. Let's get the technical stuff up. All right, here we go. Take a get it.
Care with dentists, specialists, and lab.
All right, here we go.
Felt that before, like I couldn't breathe.
Delana Land was already living at the group home when Jessica arrived. Delana got there in late 2015, an Indigenous teen nearly 2,000 kilometers from her First Nation in Northern Ontario. The first time she says she was restrained at Mary Homes was less than 2 weeks after she arrived.
I was reading a book past Lights Out, and then I kept telling them that I just wanted to keep it on longer. I'm not tired, I'm being quiet, I'm reading a book. She ripped that out of my hand and said I was like resisting, and then she just like stepped on my back, and then I just kind of just went down.
Sorry,
Jesus.
she stepped on you.
Yes, and then I was on the floor, and then she was like, let me know when you're gonna behave. Then I was probably on the floor for like 20 minutes.
She kept her foot on your back for 20 minutes?
Yeah,
For reading a book.
for reading a book.
Delana says a pattern developed, where workers restrained her as often as 3 times a week.
For just many ridiculous reasons, for swearing, being loud, for being disruptive, just anything, we'd get restrained.
The child welfare system operates largely in secret. There was little public transparency on how some of the most vulnerable kids are treated inside foster care and group homes. which is why a team from Global News and APTN used the Freedom of Information Law to access and analyze more than 10,000 serious occurrence reports from the child welfare system in Ontario from a one-year period in 2020 and 2021. The data was revealing. At some group homes and foster homes, there was an alarmingly high number of serious incidents reported, including deaths, injuries, missing kids, and restraints.
Yeah.
And the data also suggests systemic issues at companies with multiple homes where there was a pattern of serious occurrences and restraints across many locations.
That really is a clear-cut issue of a service provider really not doing the work.
Chiara Scarabaghi is the Dean of the Faculty of Community Services at Toronto Metropolitan University.
Not every serious occurrence means that somebody's doing something wrong. However, if everybody runs away all the time, why doesn't anybody want to be here? We assume it's the kids who have a problem, when in fact those young people might be doing the right thing, running away from a harmful place.
At Mary Homes, 58% of its serious occurrence reports were for physical interventions, otherwise known as restraints. A last resort the government only permits when children pose an immediate risk to themselves or others.
Restraints are considered therapeutic interventions. In fact, I think restraints are acts of violence. Certainly the young people will tell you that they're experienced as acts of violence. And so we have an official system, like this is a in which institutional violence is considered normal and good.
No one from Mary Homes would answer our questions.
Of course not.
But the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services has imposed conditions on its group home licenses effective January of this year, including no longer locking up kids' shoes and providing an updated policy on restraints, outlining when they are permitted.
We have a whole group of
locking up their shoes
who may or may
So they can't
not
escape.
be safe.
The president
shit.
of the
I don't care
Ontario
how cold my
Association of
toes get,
Child
I'd go.
Kuran Yang says the data from the Serious Occurrence Reports, or SORs, is telling.
When you have an incredibly high instance of SORs, you need to look very closely because it could be an indicator that you have improperly trained practitioners.
Okay, there we go. Right, let's pause this up here for a second. Josie, we were just talking about this, right?
Kura's association has been advocating for 2 decades that workers.
Josie, we were just talking about that, right?
Yep.
So they said properly trained technicians and properly learning. How many of these caseworkers are trained in mental health evaluations and substance abuse evaluations and all of these domestic violence evaluations? How many of these caseworkers have licenses and training in that stuff, but yet they are able to go back and go in to make a report for them to remove our kids? What business do these caseworkers have in saying any of this stuff? They don't have this training or these certifications. So why is it that they can go ahead and just say whatever they want based on that and come back and take your kids? It makes no freaking sense. None whatsoever.
And also you have to remember that some social workers have been working there for 10, 20, 25 years, right? So when they came in as a social worker, they didn't have mental health issues. They didn't have LGBTQ, blah, blah, blah. They didn't do this. So if they didn't keep up to date, at least at a minimum, which we know they probably didn't, they're not even aware of today's problems because they're still like 25 years back.
I agree. I absolutely. They should be up for like a recertification, like a re-education training every 2 years to current events.
They're just trained to take your children away. That's it. That's it.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's even more than that because, they're supposed to be licensed as social workers. We know they obviously aren't. So realistically, what they're taught, what they're trained is how to manipulate the parents are supposed to work with, how they can manipulate your children out of you, how they can reduce the risk of harm to their own to them, you know, and stop you how to de-escalate while stealing your children.
Oh,
They're
and
taught literally to be your friend.
You forgot also how to manipulate their report writing, because everything is very manipulated the way they write their reports.
It's just. I think that should be the first thing. Like they should be showing showing all of their credentials. You know, like this is bullshit that they can just come along and take our children and they don't even have you know, anything. I mean, yeah, they went to school for a licensed social work.
Not even all of them even have their fucking diploma.
Right. Yeah, that's a fact. You know, like, and this is one of the problems. This is one of the things that need to be examined. And they like I don't understand why they don't take the words of the parents, you know, but yet they'll take the word of the social worker who's not trained in any of this stuff. You know, they say, Josie, you got a problem. You have an alcoholic problem, or you got a drug problem. Oh, okay. No, I don't. Okay, but this social worker said you did. Well, what gives her the authority to say that? Nothing.
Exactly.
She doesn't have anything to say. You know, she has no play in that game. So,
like that's like I was saying the other day. Me and my daughter have a toxic relationship. What the hell is toxic? Like, explain it to me. They don't even know what toxic means, but that's what they'll write. You know, like, who are you to say we have a toxic relationship? You haven't even analyzed us.
Right.
Well, you know, the one thing that I don't understand, okay, how many state case laws could we compile that says that cases have been overturned due to the fact that the department has committed fraud to seek termination? They've committed perjury. They've committed a falsification of documents, you know, they've lied on the stand, all of this stuff. But yet the judge still takes their word as if it was gold.
Right. So what does that tell us?
They're all working together.
That our judges are idiots.
Hey, Josie. I'm not the one to introduce this. Melissa brought this up months ago, but I'm going to re-talk about it. And that is that incident that the young lady was talking about that happened to her would not have happened if the workers all have body cameras.
Facts.
Think about it. If they have now Melissa mentioned this. I'm not introducing this, but Melissa was correct. If they all have body cameras, that comes to a halt. Just like with the police. When the police start wearing body cameras, all of a sudden there was less harassment.
Honestly, better than body cameras in group homes is that group homes be required to have surveillance everywhere but like bathrooms.
Right. Well, if you put body cameras on the people causing the incidents, that would definitely make a difference. I think body cameras should be on everybody.
Exactly.
Right, but not all abuse in the group homes are by the group home providers. Because you also have a lot of child-on-child abuse, and they're not going to be wearing a body cam.
Yes, but it will still slow it down.
It'll slow it down. But let's put cameras in rooms. You could do that too, except for the bathrooms. So if there's cameras in these facilities, like they have in prisons, you could do the same thing.
But then you go and like jump on their like freedom of like having a safe place. You know, you can't have a camera on them. Like if I was in a group home, I wouldn't want to be like when I was in the military, I didn't want a fucking camera on me making sure that I slept.
Right. Well, I mean, I get that because you're right. There's again, we got to remember that these children are the victims here.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the part that sucks. So again, you're right. You're right about that, just like but the thing is to prevent these things from happening. If we covered them, if they were covered with cameras, watch better.
Yeah, but Darren, you know, the Kim up there in Maine, her grandson, he's 4. The child that sodomized the 4-year-old was 12.
Right. Well,
okay.
I mean, this is the thing.
Now, if there was a camera in the room, don't you think that maybe the kid would have thought twice before doing that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like we have all of these things, and that's it. But also, like Josie's saying, is that And I agree to a degree, because these kids are the victims. These kids are the ones, not only if they were abused in their homes, but now they're being shuffled into these homes that they're not aware of. They're being put into all of this cold, dark place. Like, these kids it just sucks for them. I mean, this is not a good place for them to be. And it's not, their faults that they're in this situation. In most cases, or all of these cases, these kids have done nothing. So for us to treat them like prisoners, it just sucks to have to do that,
Yeah.
I think the start should be the workers should have body cameras. Then eventually go with what Melissa was saying in rooms or whatever. But right now, let's put the body cameras on the workers.
Yeah, just to start. I mean, that's one of the things that we've been talking about. I'll show it again, right here. This right here, body cams.
Do social workers really have that much interaction with the parents? So, like on average, how many hours do they necessarily interact with parents realistically? Because they're out filling work, they're supposed to be with the kids, they're supposed to do other stuff. They're not with parents 8 hours a day.
They need to be held accountable when they're around people, whether it's the parents or whether it's the children. They turn on their body cameras. They have to. Every cop in the states have body cameras. In most states, anyway, they all have body cameras.
Right, they're way out.
When we engage with a person, you got to turn that body camera on. Else you're going to get written up. And the benefit of the doubt is going to go to the perpetrator. If the perpetrator
you can't even do anything. I recorded it and I can't even use it.
Right. Yeah, that's when that sucks. Josie, check this out. Dustin Ashley says the judge on my case said on the record that my bond with my children is purely toxic. When all my supervised visits went extremely well, never a bad report, and he's never had a bonding study. So he's also has a toxic word in his.
Toxic. Like,
toxic.
What is toxic? Like,
right.
We have to ask them. Please define toxic, because, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is toxic? Right. What is toxic?
Because if I want a toxic relationship with my other two kids as adults, like if toxic is a positive, then please, I want a toxic relationship with all my kids.
Right. Right. It depends.
And Darren, honestly, that message that you just read, I'm familiar with the family in the case. That's actually one of the families that I've worked with out of Pennsylvania. And that judge should be disrobed. He should not be on bench because he's very sexually derogatory toward the females in his courtroom.
Oh, wow.
He tells them to get drug tests using their pubes.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
What's this judge's name?
Huh?
What's this judge's name?
I don't know the judge's name off the top of my head, but if they want to put it up in the comments, they can. But that's up in Pennsylvania, and it's bad.
Yeah, Carrie says they did have them in group homes, at least the ones that she was in. That was more than 20 years ago. So I think she's talking about cameras there. So I'm sure some of them do, some of them don't. But,
yeah, me too. I'm sure some.
It's just, we can't listen. Here's the thing: we can't stop everything from happening. We can try, and we can try to make everything good, but there's just no way. The world's too diverse. There's too much space. There's not enough order. We're not going to be able to stop it. There's just no way without infringing on someone's rights. Like that's first and foremost. We're going to end up infringing on someone's rights. Doesn't matter who you are. I mean, that's just you're not going to.
But that video that you showed, like, look how many times that foster family's name was in the SOR. Like, why did nobody realize that it's the same foster family that's probably getting complaints and nobody's doing anything?
Right. That's
they're just not doing their job. Like, nobody is doing their job. Nobody is checking up on CPS anywhere. Quebec, Ontario,
Right.
probably the States, nobody is like checking and making sure that everybody is doing their job.
Well, nobody dares to, or nobody wants to, because it's just money. This is money. Listen, as long as their checks keep coming in, they don't care. The money's good, right? The money's good. The checks are coming in. The money's flowing. We're not stopping anything. We're just going to continue on. They're going to complete, like, look at it. They get covered in immunity. They're not worried about this crap. They're all covered with immunity. They're just going to continue doing what they're doing. And as long as that money keeps coming, but there's not just one of us, or two of us, or three, or five of us arguing about that. And Stephen Stambaugh is the name of the judge that is doing all of these nasty things in Pennsylvania. So everybody put Stambaugh on your watch.
I've had very long conversations with this family, and through my advice, they started a judicial complaint, and it is starting to gain some ground. It did make it past round one, and I'm very proud of her for standing up and taking that charge, because this is a judge like that doesn't need to be on bench. Not when he is that nasty and condescending toward women.
Ugh, disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. All right, let's get back to this here. Let's play a little bit more of this video here. We got to go through this ad. Let me get through this here.
Hey, I agree with Carrie. You need a wall of shame
I have
on your
it.
website.
Yeah, it's there. It's there. AbolishCPS.com. It's there. Wall of Shame. Just no
great.
one's
Now you get to add a judge to it.
right. We're
Hell, we got a lot of judges we could add to it.
Yeah.
Type it out.
Right.
Talk it out.
Yep.
Knock it out.
Be safe.
The president of the Ontario Association of Child and Youth Care, Kuran Yang, says the data from the Serious Occurrence Reports, or SORs, is telling.
When you have an incredibly high instance of SORs, you need to look very closely, because it could be an indicator that you have incorrectly, improperly trained practitioners who are inadvertently escalating behavior.
Kura's association has been advocating for 2 decades that workers be required by law to have completed a public college or university program in child and youth care.
So in the worst case scenario today, we have, frontline workers where the minimum qualification is that they have a driver's license and perhaps a high school diploma.
Oh, that's good.
This is an ad for a child and youth worker in Northern Ontario.
You have a license.
So you should be, you should be required to read, but maybe not. That's why they can't do their paperwork right.
So all of us can get a job there. We have a license diploma, so we can get in there. Good.
Are you tired of dealing with one window?
Yeah, but I couldn't steal someone's kids.
Hard to open. You've even tried to get 6 windows, but never received a response. It's true.
Starting in July 2023, the Ontario government will require group home workers have a diploma, degree, or certificate in a relevant field, or prior experience deemed relevant. But it falls short of requiring that training be in child and youth care.
I got a degree in ophthalmology.
Worked at group homes run by Interface Child and Family Services.
Are you sure it ain't proctology?
Interface requires a diploma or degree in a social services related field. So with a diploma in corrections, Cassandra was hired.
Did anybody say to you, hey, you don't have any training in child and youth work?
Nope.
Wasn't a problem?
Nope.
Looking back, she says she didn't have the right training and now lives with regret, guilt, and sadness.
How frequently would these restraints happen?
Daily, multiple times a day with different kids.
Multiple times a day?
Yes.
You would restrain a child?
Yes. Which to me might say maybe this isn't the right environment for them.
You didn't do anything to get there.
Number of serious occurrence reports of any group home operator in Ontario, according to Global News' analysis. And more than half of those reports were for workers restraining kids and youth.
I think that it shows that our first response is to go hands-on with the child rather than take the time to maybe educate ourselves into properly ensuring these kids are growing up in a normal environment.
Yes, a normal environment. That
Declined
group
an on-camera
where you just
interview,
stole the kids
but
from their
said in a
family.
statement it over-reports in the interest of transparency and cares for hard-to-serve youth. It also said restraints are only used in high-risk situations where there is a physical threat. And in roughly
that's all of
10% of cases, restraints involved a staff member holding onto a child's hand. The year after Cassandra left Interphase, a 17-year-old boy with a developmental disability named Justin San Giuliano died after being restrained in one of its homes. In response, Interphase stated publicly a goal of reducing restraint. But by 2021, the volume actually increased. Interphase now says it's launched a restraint reduction plan and has updated staff training.
There's literally no need for any of it.
Bullshit.
For Black and Indigenous youth like Delana, who are vastly overrepresented in care, the overuse of restraints is a continuation of generations of trauma.
When you think about the violence associated with physical interventions, I can think of no context in which we have made it okay to engage in this kind of violence publicly, other than the context of doing so against Black people and Indigenous people. Child welfare is implicated in Indian residential schools. It was responsible for the 60s scoop. Child welfare was built on the foundation of racism.
Among the Indigenous youth the system has failed, Amy Owen.
It did fail her.
A teen from Poplar Hill First Nation in far northwestern Ontario, Amy died by suicide inside a Mary Holmes residence in 2017. Jessica and Delana lived there at the same time.
She got restrained for talking back. She got grounded for cutting herself. It's just anything.
Delana says Amy was like her little sister, and the pair had a pact to get out of Mary Holmes.
Today is April 8th. I think like 3 o'clock-ish. It's day 1. I'm planning the AWOL.
I was saving my bus tickets so I can take her to AWOL with me because I know she's been going through a lot.
When you say AWOL, that's a group home term for leaving.
To run away, yeah. And I kept telling her, we're going to take off. And she died on the 17th, and then I took off on the 20th. I still did it because I knew she wanted it.
Where did you go?
I lived in a stairwell in Rideau.
The mall?
Yeah.
So to you, living in a stairwell was better than living at Mary Holmes?
Yeah.
Wow.
At least I was able to be me. I was able to be okay.
For Jessica, who stayed at the group home after Amy's death, the anguish was overwhelming, and, she says, there was little compassion.
I didn't understand what I was going through, that I was suffering from PTSD. I didn't know that. But they would just say that it was attention seeking.
And so, in a cry in the dark, she wrote out her pain on paper.
When you're a kid, you don't know how to handle your emotions or deal with what you're going through. And the only thing you can do is kind of just run.
And you see, that's where trained professionals...
Supercharge your business with the all-new Shopify point of...
Sorry about that. Yep.
That's where trained professionals, especially during that time where that little girl, that person committed suicide, should have went there and explained and talked to these kids about what they were going through. But they are not trained professionals. So, it's crazy to me that, oh my God, they're left by themselves. I need that link to where I've never seen this show before at all.
I'll make sure that I get it to you.
Yeah. That's crazy. Fuck, 2 decades. That activist has been trying to do something. 20 years at least.
Right. It's crazy. 2 years, 20 years, 20 years, 20 years. Think about that. That if you take that by the United States numbers, that's 10 million children have gone through the system. 10 million. How many kids have we lost? How many kids is just it's disgusting. It's heartbreaking, it's disgusting. And how can everybody, again, you ask, how do they just turn their heads to this? When are people going to wake up and say, this is really what's going on? I mean, what is it going to take? I'll tell you what it takes. It takes it for it to happen to you. But when it happens to you, what we're doing here, it's too late because the people are not watching this because they're waiting for this to happen. They're watching it because it has happened. So everything that we're trying to teach them in the prevention, it's too late. You know, they didn't know to not answer that door and give them the jurisdiction. They didn't know any of these things, you know?
You know, I agree with Carrie's statement. Rather be in prison than in a group home.
Right.
Everything that I've heard from my daughter being in a group home, I would say that was probably pretty true because my daughter had to have surgery and the staff would stand there and watch people beat her, and they literally kicked her head in so bad that she ended up suffering from a rupture of a pre-existing brain aneurysm. And they left her laying there, and she bled out her ear and her nose for, I believe it was 10 days before they got her the surgery. During this whole time, because I was making a stink about her needing medical care, they made sure to go through and cut off all communication between me and my daughter through an ex parte order of no contact drafted by the GAL. Because they knew that I had went to visit with Sarah, and Sarah had 2 black eyes and a bunch of bruises. I actually snuck my phone into the group home and I recorded the entire visit. And I don't even think Sarah to this day knows I have the recording of her talking about how she literally was getting her head stomped in day after day after day. And there was a janitor. He's since been removed from the company, but he was getting sexual favors from the girls in the group home, and he was trying to get alone time with Sarah.
Jesus.
Disgusting, man.
That's what I'm saying. We got to. This stuff needs to be just trampled. These kids deserve Disney World, not this shit. You know, like that's what they deserve. None of this shit that's going on.
Right.
So it's just
Well,
more.
what about their constitutional rights? You know, we hear about our rights being deprived. We're being deprived due process. We're being deprived, you know, all of these rights. Well, what about our child's right to family?
Yeah.
To stability, to, you know, to the bond that they were born with their parents.
To safety.
Right.
Yeah.
Not heads kicked in and everything else. Right. It's an absolute, it's heartbreaking that we're not giving these kids, which are the victims, better care than what we are, but yet they're taking our children for abuse and neglect, right? But then they're putting them into a worse situation. Where's this being right?
Yeah, no, the system's definitely scary, and let's just say I don't envy anyone under the age of majority anymore because, you know, it's nice to sit back and say, I'd love to be 15 all over again, be out riding my horses, but it ain't like that anymore. You
Right.
know, I know kids right here in my county, the girls in school, and literally halfway through the day without any investigation into the parents or nothing. They show up, they pull the one girl out of the high school and the other girl out of the grade school. And last I heard, that little girl, they transferred her up to Maine, and something about she was molested here in Alabama before being sent to Maine, somewhere just south of Bangor. And I guess there's a bunch of reports. Well, those reports are why my daughter was moved out of the home that she was in, my 2-year-old, because that home is supposedly guilty of multiple accounts of molestation. And I'm not even allowed to put my own 2 cents into it. It's been, quote, investigated, but, you know, the hell if I'll ever find out what happened.
Yeah. Investigated by who?
Actually, they did assign a worker. And see, it's supposed to be a worker from another county, but they used a worker in this county. And the only reason it got investigated, see, you didn't hear about this, Josie, but about 3 weeks ago, they fired all the caseworkers in my county. Literally, just fired them all. Well, the caseworker that they fired, I mean, they ain't a lot of them. This is a small county.
Okay.
But the caseworker that they fired, she was seeing the truth of what was going on, and she was the one that ordered an investigation of the foster home and moved my daughter out of that home. And it was only about 3 days, 4 days after that they fired her.
And how long was she in that foster family for?
2 years.
Jesus Christ.
That foster home was supposed to adopt her. That was a approved adoptive home. But my kids have not even been deemed dependent. They've not met any grounds for termination. Hell, they've not even met any grounds to remove the kids. But I just have a judge that refuses to hold court. I've been waiting 2 years for a court date. And they just filed a new continuation, and I was actually at the courthouse earlier today filing new paperwork.
Look at the positive. Look at the positive then. If they just move that baby from 2 years to a different home, then that starts the process over again. They can't say,
yeah, it starts the bonding. Yeah.
Now has a bond. Now you start over again. So here's your time to go get her back.
Well, the thing is by, and even Darren has looked this up, by all accounts of the case laws that me and Darren have both looked up, they do not have the grounds to hold this child in any way, shape, or form.
Nope.
You know, and it's hard to find a judge that issues the remedy that the law requires that they issue, because when one starts, the rest fall in line, and it will start an outcry of parents trying to get their children back for the same issues.
Yep. It's just, this whole thing is it's just out of control, the way that it works, the way that it's sized up, the way everything happens now. It's not the way it was meant to be. It's not going to get any better. They're not going to regress. The only thing that we can do is tear it down and abolish this son of a bitch. That's the only way that this is going to work. Because we're not going to be able to put a Band-Aid on this. We're not going to be able to fix this. It needs to just be scuttled and started over from scratch, because there needs to be something.
Heck, I think all of Title IV needs to be scuttled and started over again, because it not only funds CPS, but what about the fathers that are in the broken homes that are fighting with their spouse? And,
start over.
Right.
You know, this whole thing needs to be just scuttled. If you worked there before, guess what? You're not working there now. You're out. All new people, all new everything. You know, just start from ground zero, and get everybody back. Reset button. Hit the reset button.
Well, and I think that if a person's going to be a worker, they need to be someone who has kids, so that they better understand what it is they're doing to a family. Because I am so sick of seeing these high school kids that are my new workers. I have been through 11 workers, 5 supervisors. We're now on the 3rd office director, 3 GALs, and 1.5 absent judges.
Jesus, sounds like my stuff.
But that, I think that's part of the plan, is to have like different people always come in, because everybody's story is always, we've had so many so many workers, and this change because she's on depression and blah blah. Like,
yeah,
everybody's case has so many workers working for it. That's crazy.
Well, and I knew a father right here in Alabama. His name was Chris. He actually committed suicide now about 6 months ago. And he had 5 daughters that he was a single parent raising. And the mother was suffering from really bad postpartum depression after her 5th child. And she killed herself over it. And the department came in and said, let's help you bond and get through this. Well, yeah, they helped him bond all right. They stole all 5 kids. They held him in jail with no bond for 3-4 months because he was living out of state with his kids in their new home, not breaking any laws. And they lied to take custody. And then after we finally got him out of jail on a habeas corpus, they turned around and said that they would make sure he never got to see any of his 5 girls again. So the same gun that his wife killed herself with, he then blew his own brains out.
See, what a good job this system is doing on protecting the family and the people inside of it. It's freaking terrible. That's absolutely terrible. Hey, I'm going to try to, on that note, I'm going to try to play this video one more time, this one that I made. Let's see what everybody thinks about this. Hopefully I can make this work. Let's see. Let's take a look here. No, it doesn't want to go past that for some reason. God, it's such a good video. You know what? Maybe I can do this, though. Hold on. Might be something I can do. Because, I make all these videos. This is what I spend all my time doing, is making these videos. And if you guys need any sort of videos made for your situation or your cause, feel free to email me at abolishcps.com, at gmail.com, and I will gladly put together something for you. There is that. If you guys are interested in that, get in touch with me. We also sell the t-shirts and all that stuff at abolishcps.com. Let's see if I can share this page so you can see. Let me see how to share. Entire screen. Here we go. I might be able to do it here. Share. Share there. Let's see if this will work. Okay.
Childhood, growing and developing years of a person. This is meant to be a highly important time to create morals, fundamentals, and skills necessary to be a success. Instead, the trauma set a path of disaster, and statistics prove in only 90% of their cases, the trauma is unnecessary. Time is the one thing that can never be given back. CPS takes away moments in life that can't be replaced. Time just keeps going. Doesn't mean a thing anymore. It's up to them when they go home if they need. Each second away is time will never get back. Now comes the honorable judge in the halls of justice, where the Constitution will hold strong that your rights to life liberty and pursuit of happiness will trample CPS for all they have done to your child. The truth and corruption that's revealed to you is enough to make you sick. This is not America worse.
What'd you think?
I could hardly hear it myself.
Oh, no way, really?
Well,
Yeah.
I could hear it, and honestly, the one where it was showing the kid growing up and growing older and becoming an adult, I actually figured he was going to end up being on one of those, prison mugshot boards.
Oh, good call. Yeah, maybe I should do that. You're absolutely right. Good call.
Because, what is it, like 70% of the kids that come out of foster care end up back in.
Yeah.
They literally go from one type of incarceration direct into another. I mean,
Is
it
that what
really.
the statistic is? 70%?
Yeah.
I think it's 75% is really what it is. It might even be more. I know 75% of the people that are in penitentiaries came through CPS. So,
no way.
Yep, that's a stat.
And like 93% of the kids found in trafficking rings are typically runaways from the department.
Yeah,
I can see that, but
Yeah.
I had no clue. Wow, that's a huge statistics.
Yeah, it's
and the 2 weeks ago now we had the one kid on here that he literally grew up in the system in Florida, took out of a very bad situation, and he became an advocate for people. When he had his own kids, they turn around. Huh?
We should get him back on.
Yeah. They turn around and deemed him a bad father because he had been a child of the system.
That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, what we've gathered here today is that the system sucks. I think time's up. I think it's time that we wrap this baby up. What you got for last words, Josie?
Stay safe, enjoy, and never let CPS inside your house.
Melissa, how about you?
One, I'll second what she said. And two, don't ever let a fight get you down to the point that you want to do something stupid like taking your own life. Because if you're dead, who the hell else is going to fight to save your kid from the system?
Yeah, good one on that. Amen to that. Herbert, where are you, buddy? Herbert's gone.
Herbert was quiet. The girls took over.
Herbert is here.
Herbert, there you are. Herbert, last words, bud.
Say that again?
Your last words for tonight?
No, I was just listening to everything, and my thing is I'm advocating for workers to have cameras. They have to have body cameras. Body cams.
That's it right here. We already have the graphics ready for that one, Herbert. Right there. Check it out. I've already designed them. These T-shirts are available at abolishcps.com too. It says body cams, keeping CPS honest. You can't see all the black writing and everything there, but check them out. They're at abolishcps.com. Their T-shirts are already made. Keeping CPS honest.
Yeah, even when they walk to the door and they go and talk to the parents at the home, they should have body cams.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Hey, Darren, I had a thought because there's so many simple things that can be changed in the state to start making changes. I mean, we're not a huge group of people, but we do try to put the fight on the front line. What we should do is, and I know that on abolishcps.com you have ways to contact you, but for people like Carrie and everyone that's been on this show, Josie, Brenda, and all the other families that we worked with, we should make a list of one thing that they would like to try to change about their state law or their country's law or their, territory's law. And we should work on trying to help them prepare a bill that they can take to the House of Representatives and seek to lobby to get the backing to start trying to make a change in their state.
I like that idea a lot. I think that's a great
Because
idea.
I've already got a bill drafted to do jury trials in my state. And I'm already working on a lobbyist to fight for it.
Right. That's a great freaking idea. I mean, anybody out there that wants to, like what you just said, like I have the one for abolishment, like we already have that we talk about. So, I mean, we have these bills in place, but yeah, I think that's a great idea to get these people involved and start pushing this, because what good is the legislature that we're writing if no one's going to try to use it, right? Like it's just sitting there.
Well, like Cheryl from National Action Network always says, you gotta have boots on the ground making noise. If you don't make noise, nothing's ever going to change.
Yep, you're right. You're absolutely right. That's great. That's a great way of looking at that. That's absolutely right. All right. Yes, we will do that. So that's to come, people. That is to come. We just got to figure out how we're going to do it. So, all right, guys. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. It was good to. It was a good night, and we'll see you all tomorrow. We'll see Josie next week, and we get an update and all that good stuff. All right, guys. Good night, guys. Lord Herbert. So that's it. I love that idea, Melissa. That's a great idea. I think that we need to really start doing this. That's right. Carrie says closed mouths don't get fed. You're damn right. So you hear that, people. Start putting together some thoughts or things that you need changed in your areas. Let's start working on this stuff. That's what we got to do. But as for tonight, you know what it is. I'm the CPS Punisher. I'm out of here. Cheers.